Let's turn to the Voice now. Support for the Prime Minister is slipping in line with the Voice, with Labor's primary vote sitting at just 33%, this according to Freshwater Strategy polling. And this is the same as the Yes vote, which is also currently hovering at around 33%. This to the No votes, 50%. And according to this poll, 17% of people are still undecided. With early referendum voting starting to be underway in remote Australia, we're going to look at whether there is any chance at this late stage of the Prime Minister and the Yes campaign turning it around. Joining me now is Freshwater Strategy's Leo Shanahan. Thanks for your time, Leo.
Thanks, Sharri.
So what's your assessment? Is it all a done deal now, or is that large proportion of 17% of undecided voters still possible to swing it in favour of the Yes camp?
Yeah, it could definitely still swing. I mean, it's not a done deal. That is still a substantial minority that could swing this campaign to Yes. But on the current numbers, the Freshwater Strategy poll had no, with undecideds included at 50%. And Yes, at just 33%. Now, when you remove those undecideds, you had a 40 to 60 margin. So very, very dire numbers for the Yes campaign at the moment. Now, you mentioned that it's sitting around the same number as Labor's primary vote. I'd be cautious about that correlation equaling causation in this instance. There's no doubt that for Anthony Albanese, there are problems afoot, and whether they're directly being caused by the Voice or an appearance that the focus on the Voice is coming at the expense of other major issues. So I think it'd be interesting to have a look at the preferred Prime Minister vote now that is actually narrowing. Now that's gone from 29% to 55% in December to 37%, still very much in the favour.
So this showing that Dutton's polling figures as preferred Prime Minister are rising, Albanese's are falling, they're narrowing.
They're narrowing. They're down to 9 points on our polling. And that's pretty substantial over what's this been, a 9-month period. So as you mentioned, the primary vote for the coalition, they are ahead, 37 to 33. That's not actually a substantial change on our last poll. And 2PP, Labor's still ahead and would still win an election. In fact, they might even win an election based on distribution with more seats.
I just want to pick up on something you said before. You said if you remove the undecideds, it's 40-60. So that's 60% voting no.
Yeah,
and 40%. So if you put to people, if you had to choose right now, which way would you vote? And it was about 40-60.
Yes, but you'd still have undecideds in that picture who would still cast a vote. Now, if you remove them from this poll, yes, it's 40 to 60. But even on those numbers of including the undecideds, you've got a new low for us at 33%. And if you look at the poll of polls that Freshwater did on it back in May, Sharri, when we started to track that sentiment, it's particularly bad for the Yes vote because you can just see the polls.
And we'll pull that graph up now. So this is the graph showing all polls and how they're tracking. And so tell us what that says. So that just shows that all polls show that support for the Voice is diving.
The trend is clearly down. It has been crashing. So, you'd think that on trajectory and on trends, where does the Yes vote go now from here, only a couple of weeks out from the vote? So it is substantial worry. That doesn't mean they can't pull it out, and you'd never say never, but it is extremely concerning. I think, politically, where are we at now? It's worth keeping in mind that, as I said, Anthony Albanese would still win an election, but it does appear that Peter Dutton and the coalition are, in the very least, in the game at this point.
Well, they've had a resurgence off the back of Dutton campaigning for the Voice, and it's coincided with Albanese facing many scandals. Richard Marles's travel scandal, this COVID inquiry, the misinformation bill. I mean, it's just piling up for the Prime Minister.
Yeah, and I think it's another really interesting thing that we did in the AFR Freshwater Strategy poll is to look at why people were switching from yes to no.
And what was
Because
the main reason?
Well, the main reason is that I feel that the voice is distracting from the nation's bigger priorities like cost of living and housing.
Yeah, all right.
And the second was, now that I know more about the voice, I like the idea less. So
The more the detail, the more people turn away.
exactly. So it's really interesting in that it's less about the referendum itself. It's more about the distraction that it's causing and the people's priorities in life.
Yeah. All right. Leah Shanahan, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Sharri.